It is insane. But I wanted to talk to you guys today about something interesting. I was reading a book called not the Richest Man in Babylon. If you haven't read that one, you should probably read that too. But it's called, it is leaving my mind at this point. It's by Napoleon Hill. And once the title comes back to me, I will relay it or put it in the description if it doesn't come back before then. But it is about basically allowing yourself to become successful, to become abundant, period, just in your life. And it teaches you the tools of manifestation and right thinking. I won't even call it right thinking, but thinking in a way that is abundant, that, attracts things instead of repels things. But also, there's just a little tip in the book that I wanted to share, and something that I felt could benefit all of us if we've tried it. And I think it was the author, he was talking about how he started to practice something that he just felt intuitively guided to do, and he kind of got a little bit spooked out by it in the end because it just literally became so real, because he built such a strong connection with these spirits. But he basically had a round table of, I forget about how many, I'll say, just estimating, of about 10 scholars, maybe more, or just people that he deemed as scholarly, people who he thought were super successful doing what he was doing, and people who he wanted to emulate in some way, wanted to adopt different habits they had, or business tactics and strategies, or ways of writing a book. I think he had like Gandhi and maybe like Edison and maybe like Ford or a few other people at this table. And every day or every few nights, or I think he got to the point where it was every day, he would come into the space with this round table of these people. And he made it clear too specifically. He said that he got super specific too, which is, I think, interesting and funny to me because it's so important with manifestation, period. But he mentioned this, that with this little exercise, he really had to get clear and specific with what traits he was wanting to emulate, because he noticed that over time, let me back up real quick and just let you know. So he found all these different people, these 10 different scholars, and he would come every night to, maybe a room in his house or somewhere, and have a conversation with all of these people about different things that he was working on, and different projects that he might have been working on. And he was really, really trying to touch base with them and get in touch with them and ask them how to do certain things. He was literally asking them for advice, bringing ideas forward to the table to them, and they literally would all converse with him after so much time, literally like they were just right there. Like, he would experience their personalities. He got to know them so well that he could be like, oh yeah, okay, Lincoln was at the table as well. He'd be like, oh, Lincoln, he would be super short with people and just a little bit off the wall at times, and his humor, like, nobody really got sometimes, or some different things, which is interesting. But that's where he said he had to be careful and super specific in the end, because he got to know these people so much and was in such deep conversation with them week to week to week, to the point where he was like, literally could see them in front of his eyes, literally could see them, literally could hear them. They would have conversations with each other and sometimes fight with each other because they didn't agree. But also he started to notice that since he wasn't super specific about the traits that he wanted to adopt from them, he might notice that he might adopt some traits that he didn't necessarily want to adopt. So, like, I think with Edison, he was maybe, like, not always super on time and just always a few minutes late, and it really bothered everyone else at the table. But he noticed, like, through living his life and through being at this table and being around these people so long, that he started to adopt those same traits, where he was, super smart, super analytical. So he was super good in every other area, but he was super terrible about being on time, which is something that I found very, very hilarious. But that wasn't only, the only thing. There were other traits that these other people possessed that he started to be like, okay, well, I don't know what's happening, and I feel like I need to take a break. And it got to the point where I think he even like stepped away from the table and was like kind of shook about it. But I feel like, you know, easy to do if it's something that you're just stepping into and it literally becomes so real because you've allowed yourself to put that wall down in your mind so that you can observe what's beyond the veil, and it finally shows itself to you and you realize how real that shit is. And then it's like, oh wait, I feel like I need a reality check. But what we know now and how we can take it a step further is by allowing ourselves to create those, you know, specifications so that we don't go into it adopting traits that we don't necessarily want to adopt, but can still have those conversations with this mastermind group. But it might be super beneficial as far as like if you're running a business or starting new projects, or if you're doing something new in your life that you haven't ever necessarily stepped into and you really want to find a mentor. And it's like, you know, they tell us not to find a guru, to be our own guru. So if you're considering all of those different things, then it's like, well, what am I left with to do? Look at this little orb guy. What am I left with to do? And it's like, okay, reach out to spirit. And little did we know that we can create a whole round table of these people, even people that are living, that can help us and guide us and help us create our best lives. Just because energy can never be created or destroyed. And so, you know, just as a human being is alive and well and able to guide us, so is a spirit. And they usually do guide us to go towards spirit. So why not? So my little exercise for you guys for the end of October, as we near the end of spooky season and the veil is very, very thin, I implore you or invite you guys to create a list of 10 people or 5 people. If you can't think of 10, that would be in your round table. People that you would look up to, people that possess traits and habits and things that you wish you possessed or you know you could possess. And think about what you can learn from those people, what they might have to teach you. Get very specific about the traits that you might want to adopt from them or the things that you might want to learn. Again, we don't want to adopt any bad habits now, but we definitely want to share that good energy. And if you want, possibly make it a ritual. Light a little candle, maybe put a sigil on the candle or write the names on a candle, and burn it every time you go into a meditation with them, or you know, whatever the case might be. Before you do it, or before you physically start talking to them, maybe visualize them in your room with your eyes closed, if that might help. If you need some visualization, if you feel like you're just talking to the wall, that's exactly how he felt at first, but literally after a while it began to grow and grow because he let that wall down in his mind and he could start to literally see the personalities and the, you know, intricacies of these people because they were literally there. It's just a matter of us getting outside of our, this is weird, this is strange. It's the same thing when we try to, you know, one up ourselves, like a little Mario mushroom. We eat the Mario mushroom and we feel good because we've given ourselves affirmations and love and green juice and things, and it's like we feel weird for doing those things. Like, should we love ourselves this much? But yes, they taught us to do the exact opposite and depend on other people. So let's learn to do things differently. Love ourselves first. Let's learn to do things differently and not feel so weird when we try some different exercises where it's like, am I just talking to a wall? Because I promise you, I have experienced it. They do speak to you. And even if it's not in that room during that time necessarily, or during your meeting, one of your meetings, maybe it's a sign or a symbol. Remember that the whole world is like a tarot card. So that license plate and the different colored trucks that come and pick up your trash on Fridays, and the color of the truck that drops off the deliveries at your place of work every Wednesday, it's all relevant. So pay attention to all of it. I hope that tip helped you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to message me, DM me, whatever the case might be. But I felt that was really important to share.